If I could share one tip with you today, in which I believe will take your business to the next level, what would it be? One of the most powerful things that you own is your story. It doesn't matter if you are a business owner. It doesn't matter if you are a content creator. It doesn't matter if you are a speaker. People absolutely love to know about you. If we were all honest, all of us are looking for inspiration. We're all looking for motivation. We're all looking for the steps which show us how to create, how to do, and how to be better than what we are today. We crave connection. And that's what your story does. It connects you to your audience. And that's going to be the thing that sets you apart. Your marketing is more important than your mastery. What does that mean? You can have the best service. You can have the best product. You can create the most efficient system in the market. But until people really know who you are and know what you do, could it be that it's all in vain? So what am I saying to you? It's okay that you don't start off perfectly right away. Now, of course, you want to make it as excellent as possible when you do come to market. But again, your marketing is more important than your mastery. We all want to be a success. We all need motivation. And at times in our life, we all need inspiration. That's where I come in. I'm a cheerleader of sorts. I like doing it. I like helping people, and I like encouraging them to be their absolute best. Okay, and welcome in, right? He told me that he had some sound effects. So we've got the crowd cue and the crowd applause. So welcome into Evolve on this Friday. It's sort of a dreary day, but it doesn't matter. We're here. We're going to bring you some sunshine, we'll say, in the way of some great information. I have two amazing guests who are going to put some great information in your hands. So again, welcome. I am Keisa Sharp. I am Coach K, life coach, podcaster, broadcaster, reporter, all of that stuff, right? And also the owner and founder of allsheanaturals.com, luxury body products, shea butter products. So again, welcome in this Friday. And we are at our sponsor's location, which is Filter Coffee Parlor here on the South Side. We're always so gracious, always so thankful for our sponsors. So if you're on the South Side, it's literally right next to the original Pancake House, literally right next to it. And you can come in, you can grab you a muffin, you can grab you a scone, you can grab you some cake, you can grab you some coffee, some water, tea, all sorts of things here. We have to really shout them out because they are so nice to allow us to come here and host the Evolve show and also Keisa and Joe every Wednesday at 10 a.m. So without further ado, we're going to get right to our guest today because we're going to have some great information for you. And we're talking about a topic that's pretty doggone serious, and breast cancer. In particular, breast cancer and how it affects our community. So again, we're at Filter Coffee Parlor. We're going to start off right now with the founder of Brenda's Brown Bosom Buddies, Miss Brenda Phillips Hong. She's sitting here right beside me, looking lovely. And I know that you have a million things on your schedule. So the fact that you are here with us on this Friday, that you took a few moments, I really want to say thank you for that.
Well, I want to say thank you for this opportunity.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
You're welcome. So breast cancer. I'm going to let you get into your story, but you have a very interesting background. We'll get to that a little bit later. But you were impacted personally by breast cancer.
Yes.
And that is why you started the organization. Can you talk a little bit, share as much as you want of your story?
Well, at the time I was diagnosed, I was very active. We're talking 33 years ago.
33 years ago.
33 years ago.
You were diagnosed at what age? Do you mind me asking? Too much?
No, just 78 now. So subtract
30, 35,
33 from that. This
33,
May,
45.
it was 33 years. Yeah.
45.
I know I wasn't 50 because I had a birthday party, a 50th birthday party that was my salute to being alive.
My goodness. My goodness.
Yeah. My when I was diagnosed.
40 years old. Mid-40s when you
Yeah.
were diagnosed.
Yes.
What's that like to be diagnosed at 45? You're mature, but you're not quite over the hill. I mean, you still have a lot of life to live.
There is a story within a story of how I was diagnosed. I was living between Detroit and Birmingham. So I was on the road and it got where I was not my normal, vital, moving self. And my boss suggested that I get a physical. So my doctor, who was Dr. Ravizzi at the time, I came back to Birmingham to get um, not really to get diagnosed with breast cancer, but I
Right.
came back to get a physical.
Okay.
And he suggested that I get a mammogram because I hadn't had one in quite a while.
Okay.
And I did. And the physician who did the mammogram was also the physician who called me on the phone and told me that I had breast cancer.
The physician saw that from the mammogram.
Yes. Let me delve into that a little bit. So it's Memorial Day weekend. And so I go in on that Thursday to get the results of the biopsy that was done because the mammogram was done and they saw something. So,
Gotcha.
okay.
And so then the biopsy after
Then
that.
the biopsy after that. So
Okay.
the biopsy took place and I went in so that I could get the results of it.
Yeah.
And the doctor was in surgery. So now we're looking at Friday, no phone call. So now we're looking at Monday and surgery phone call because it's Memorial Day. So by that time, my boss had called me because she's trying to figure out what's going on and this and that. And unfortunately, my boss got in touch with the in some kind of way. I don't know. But the physician called me on the phone Tuesday that she didn't threatened or whatever, but you have breast cancer, and I suggest that you have a double mastectomy. You have breast cancer in your right breast.
Is that strange to you that the
Strange,
time,
that's
that the
putting it
time
lightly.
was taking that long to give you a call?
The
Jeez.
entire episode was strange to me. Of course, I had never been diagnosed with any in the past,
Yeah.
but at best, I would say it was poor on bedside manner. So from that point, I no longer wanted that doctor. My boss flew me to California, and that's where I had my surgery and all of the other things that went along.
So, and I know in particular you have a bent with your nonprofit, which is Brenda's Brown Bosom Buddies, to focus on women of color.
Yes.
And I'm listening to her story. I didn't even know we've talked several times. I didn't know all of the color that was, for lack of a better word, that was added in there. So she went and got her mammogram. She had her biopsy. There was something that was there. She got the word that she had cancer. And the doctor, there are times because you automatically assume that there's a standard of care, and that based on that standard of care, if I see something, clearly this patient is going to want to know. But this is part of the thing. These are part of the things that you're advocating for.
Yes.
As for women of color, is kind of where I'm going, and where I'm thinking that you're going.
The entire um, let's call it, for lack of a better word, the entire experience.
Yeah. I have another word, but
Okay.
yeah. Yeah.
um, of breast cancer from a lot of women of color or a lot of women who don't have insurance. Let's start there. Getting a mammogram is the last thing on their minds because they're busy trying to pay for rent, and especially single women.
They have
Of
children,
yeah, children,
groceries.
all of the things that they know they have to have
Absolutely.
to be this parent, or just to be a single woman with no children.
Yeah.
The responsibilities of human existence. So nobody is concerned about getting a mammogram.
Right.
I wasn't concerned about getting a mammogram. So I know that there is disparity even once you get a mammogram.
That part. that part.
Absolutely.
We can. So let me round it out by saying, so the inequities in healthcare, the inequities in even learning about diagnosis, the follow-up
Mhm.
after that. That's why it's so important for you to be your own advocate, or
Yes.
for you to not only be your own advocate, but partner, find someone who can help advocate for you as well, which, rounding this out and bringing it back to
Mhm.
the reason that you started your organization. I was reading a little bit of your bio, and you said you went to some of these meetings,
Mhm.
support groups.
Yes.
You didn't see a lot of people who looked like you.
No, not at all. Now, this was not in Birmingham. This was in Detroit.
Still, though,
Yeah.
you would think.
Still
Would
in
think.
Detroit. No, there were not women of my marital status, nor certainly not of my culture. And at that point, I didn't have any kids to worry about getting a bar mitzvah or sending my daughter to college so she could find a perfect gentleman to marry and have children. Those were not my concerns. I was trying to figure out how I was going to live with one breast, the stigma of that, as well as just trying to heal.
Yeah.
So those organizations that I visited was not something that I thought was for me.
So,
So,
what did Miss Brenda do?
so I thought to myself, self,
It's a running joke between me and my mom when we talk.
okay,
We think to ourselves and we say self.
yeah. So we said, self, let's fix this.
Yeah.
And at the time,
Love
I had friends who were in Detroit from Birmingham,
Okay. Okay.
and one of them had cancer. And we had between the two of us, we had people who supported us, who were also from Birmingham, who was in our alumni association.
Okay.
So we just meeting just to talk, and Bessie Sneed is the young lady I'm referencing.
Okay.
And we went to high school together.
Here in Birmingham?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Yeah, and she
Wow.
was in Detroit.
Okay.
She was a buyer for Saks.
Okay.
And she was always a lot of fun. And at that time, I was seeking as much fun as I could find.
I'm sure.
Okay.
I'm sure.
And so we started at a place called Sinbad on the waterfront. The name of our organization was named by a bartender, because we would have friends who would come in and we would sit at a certain section so that we could look at the waterfront. And when somebody was there and we weren't there, he would say, your buddies are over there. Great seafood place. But
Yeah.
anyway, when we decided we were going to actually organize,
Yeah.
thus Brenda's Brown Bosom Buddies. And a lot of people think my last name is Brown. but I say the apostrophe is on Brenda, not Brenda Brown's.
Right,
okay.
right.
But that was the early beginning, and it was not about anything other than getting together to comfort each other,
Yeah.
to talk about things that had bothered us, and it went beyond breast cancer
Mm,
because three of the ladies who joined us didn't have breast cancer.
mm.
They were supporters of Bessie and myself,
Wow.
and they had other issues
Wow.
like high blood pressure, diabetes, all of these kinds of things. And that's one of the reasons that we tackle better living, healthy eating within the organization of Brenda's Brown Bosom Buddies.
So what? So I love that. I love that because how important. I want to talk a little bit about the things that you offer with your organization, like if can I go ahead and say free mammograms as
Yes,
well? Free
absolutely.
mammograms.
Free
So please
mammograms.
don't let that be an excuse. Let me just go ahead and
Yeah.
say that now. Please don't let that be an excuse. For those of you who need a mammogram. And by the way, let me speak to my friend Omar. Omar says he watches all the time. Omar, good afternoon, good day to you. So good to see you. Just tuning in, just all enthralled in my conversation with Miss Brenda here. And I'm going to go ahead and put up the website for those of you who are tuning in. Go ahead and be researching the website as well. And so I love the fact that you talk about your diet and exercise. How important do you believe that is as it relates to chronic health conditions, breast cancer, high blood pressure that you mentioned? How important is it?
I can't think of anything that's any more important.
Interesting. Very interesting.
Of course, our environment where we breathe uh, is equally as important.
Mm,
But oftentimes we can't control exactly where we live.
environmental toxins.
Yeah, but we can control what we eat,
Yeah.
and hopefully that's healthy.
Yeah.
Our vice president, William Richardson, who is a breast cancer survivor,
We'll be talking to you in
we'll
a few
be talking
moments.
soon. She is a vegan. She eats very, very healthy. She has her own ideas on how to get the message out to our people
Mm,
about how to make choices in your diet, because she's taught me a lot about things that we should and should not eat. But as a part of our culture, I think the healthiest we eat is greens, but of course then they got pig ears in them, and you know.
okay. Yeah. I remember seeing, this is a little graphic, but I remember seeing a bowl, a pan of greens, and it was in the refrigerator. And I looked at the greens, and they had some sort of slimy color on them, and I thought, I cannot eat that. I just, I can't. Back in the day, it wouldn't matter, And then when they're hot, piping hot, and on a plate, I may not have seen it, but because it's been in the refrigerator, it's with like the whatever mix. It was not turkey mix. It was some other kind of mix or whatever was added. I was like, I can't eat that. I can't do that.
Yeah.
Now, again, I'm not trying to elevate myself. I'm simply saying I too have had to make some changes,
Yes.
some decisions,
Yes.
because of seeing some things at age over 50 that maybe I didn't pay attention to earlier or wasn't as disciplined enough. And now I've got to do. I just left home for breakfast. I had nothing traditional for breakfast, Miss Brenda. I cooked a pot of a pot of pinto beans with cut up onions, and I had some tomato on the side and some avocado on the side. Would I rather have a hamburger? Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
But there has to be change if I want to see change.
And a lot of us don't know about the reasons to change, or even that we should, because of the structure that we've lived under for so long.
Absolutely.
It was about eating something that we thought tasted good, not good for you necessarily. So the adage of you do better when you know better,
Yes.
that's a part of our premise, is to teach people why they should change.
Yes.
And then hopefully they will.
Yes. Yes.
Even in their routine of exercise. So it's not just healthy eating, it's healthy living as well.
and getting rid of this adage of, well, I can't work out. I don't like to sweat because, I don't want to get my hair wet.
Okay.
I don't want to go swimming because I
Mhm.
don't want to get my hair wet. Invest in a swim cap. Invest in some styles that will allow you to work out without having to worry about destroying your hairstyle. And listen, I've been there. I'm not, getting on you per se. I've been there and I've had to
Yes.
make these changes, which is why I have locks to make it simple. I don't need to be. I figured this out years ago. I don't need to be worried about hair when I get up in the morning. How is it going to do with the weather? I don't need to be concerned about that. So we know that diet is important. We know exercise is important. Thank you for the reminder with that. Let's also talk now about just making the decision to get up and to do better and go and get the mammogram. So your organization is removing the excuse of I can't afford that.
Absolutely.
Let's talk
Yes,
about that.
All you have to do, we give mammograms at various facilities.
Okay.
Princeton on the west side of town, Brookwood, St. Vincent on the south side, and St. Vincent East
Okay.
on that section of town. You don't have to call us.
Yeah.
All you do is call where you make appointments at the facilities that I just called out. Let them know that you're calling regarding a free mammogram that's done by Brenda's Brown Bosom Buddies.
That's awesome.
Okay.
That's awesome.
You they don't want to accept you if you don't have a statement from a doctor.
Okay.
So you've got to have a statement saying that you want a mammogram. Now that can be an issue at some point
For
because
those who
may not even
have a
doctor.
doctor.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
But if you come to those facilities, they will assist you with that as well. Okay.
You're eliminating all the excuses.
Well, we're trying really hard
I
to.
see.
Plus, some people will go to Super Green or the county. Something. You can do that to get a script. What you're trying to do, they have to honor a prescription for a mammogram.
Okay.
And all you have to do is say, I don't have insurance. And I don't want people to think that you have to consider yourself to be poor.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
There are such instances, and I don't think this person would mind me mentioning this because she's done it herself.
Yeah.
Lady Wu was between jobs, and she got a mammogram. So you don't have to consider yourself begging or any of that, because she proudly says that we were able to assist her. So you can be wherever you are in life. You just need help.
Just need help.
You just need help. And that's what we try to do, is to help you to live.
I'm sitting here listening to you as you say that we are in the entrepreneurial space. There is no shame with that, because I've even talked to you and said, okay, Miss Brenda, I'm kind of going through insurance. Would I be able to, if I needed to? Now I have it, but if I needed it, there is no shame anymore.
No.
And I will say this too, even in understanding. Let me just give a plug and some information, because even the Bible says my people perish for a lack of knowledge. So sometimes people just aren't knowledgeable. This is July. There's open enrollment coming up in a couple of months. So marketplace insurance, there's for some people, it may be a stigma associated with that, et cetera, et cetera. If you don't have a job, if you don't have your income at a certain level, there are people even there. Enroll Alabama. You can dial 211. They will assist you with that, because sometimes people don't know where to begin, don't know how to do it.
Absolutely.
And even if you do it on your own, you may be declined. Okay. Ask me how I know about that. if you try it on your own. But there are people who are helping you. So you have a couple of months before it comes up. But let me say 211, enroll Alabama, because you may qualify under a special circumstance as well. You don't know until you pick up the phone and ask. But if not, open enrollment comes up in October. We need you to be healthy. We need you to be responsible. We need you to, how can I say, not only knock on the door, but open the door.
Yes.
go through the door, ask some questions. She just gave you the blueprint. If you need a mammogram, you don't have to call Brenda's Brown Bosom Buddies. You call the facility.
Absolutely.
And then you said, okay, that can be a little bit of a nuance there. If you need to go to the county, you mentioned the health department.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned Cooper Green as well. This is where my reporter skills come in. So I'm listening to you and having to recount all of this. So even if you don't have that, then you go through those facilities. They can give you a script to be able to get a mammogram.
Yes.
So the reason I sit here, the reason I asked Miss Brenda to come here, Miss Wilhelmina, who you'll hear from in a moment, to come here on a Friday, is to put this information in your hands. Because if this could be something that could save your life or could give you more time to spend with your family and friends, but again, you've got to go through the door. So I know that and we want to hear from Miss Wilhelmina. I want you to kind of close out with what you want to say. I know you have your Sister Strut coming up in the fall. We just had, was it the Pink
Hat and Tie Luncheon?
Pink Hat and Tie Luncheon, which was fun. So see, I've been this is our first time meeting face to face. I've been kind of watching her and her organization for the past 10 months. But this is our first time meeting face to face, and it is my pleasure. But I want you to tell people before we get Miss Wilhelmina on, coming up this September, it is a huge event with Sister Strut.
It is. And I wanted to mention just a couple of other things that we offer.
Yeah, sure.
Because we do want the information to get out there, so that they can be aware of it so that they can make use of it. We also offer light housekeeping assistance for women who have been recently diagnosed with breast cancer and are going through treatment. Yeah. And it's bonded people who come in. We also offer transportation, not to go and get a mammogram, but we offer transportation to local treatment centers if you don't have transportation. Now, that is done through calling our number, 205-588-0703.
Is that number on your website?
Yes, it is.
Okay. So we have it posted on your website.
Right.
I'm sorry, her website posted now on the screen.
Yes.
Go ahead, I'm listening.
And so the event called Sister Strut, as with the Pink Hat and Tie Luncheon, these two signature events allow us the opportunity to do all of the things I just told you that we do. We also work in partnership with the Birmingham Black Nurses Association. We give them a scholarship to assist some student who is studying nursing interested in breast cancer. And then they come in and help us with our community health forums. So it's a great partnership. My plea is that we need the community's help in order for us to help others.
How so?
Support Sister Strut.
Support Sister Strut.
It is Saturday. It's usually the last Saturday in September. This year, it's September 28th. It's at Legion Field. And it's from 7 until 11 a.m. Okay? And I'm going to allow Wilhelmina to give you the rest of the part of it because she's our chair.
Wonderful.
Yes, but it's $35 in advance, $45 day of. And I'm going to let her tell you the rest about what you get to eat and all of that. But I want to thank you personally, publicly, and all of that for your support over the years, even though we have not, this is our first time physically meeting.
But I'm with the Birmingham Times.
Yes.
So the Times is
a great supporter.
An advocate.
Yes. Yes.
And that's really how we got connected.
Absolutely.
I actually covered the story.
Yes.
I didn't meet you there. I actually met Wilhelmina there last September.
Okay.
But I met you. Well, I just called you.
Yeah.
So we've been talking on the phone.
Good.
But yes, I have to shout out the Birmingham Times and the staff there. They've been very gracious as well.
They have been. They have been from the very beginning.
Yeah.
And we're talking about, this is our 13th Sister Strut.
13th Sister Strut.
13
years.
years.
I think the organization started back in 2010.
2010.
Wow.
That's when we got our 501c3.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I want to just personally say thank you for continuing the work, because this is something that can be so tough for women to go through. And I actually featured a story from Sister Strut last year also. Looking at her,
Judge Stevens,
Judge
Stevens Moss.
Judge Stevens Moss. And she said one of the most challenging things for her was opening up and allowing people to help her with housework, allowing people to help her do some other things, even when she would come to work. So I love the fact that your organization is saying we're not only going to help you in terms of getting this mammogram, but we recognize it's a challenge.
Yes, after the fact.
After diagnosis and going through treatment or whatever. So Brenda's Brown Bosom Buddies, I encourage you to get online and to study. And if you're just tuning in, go back and listen to the beginning of this video and this podcast so you can learn how you can get a free mammogram. You don't need money. Well, I don't have a doctor. We gave the blueprint for that as well.
Yes.
Go back and listen to the beginning of this podcast. And if it's not you, share it. That's what we ask you to do as well. Like and share, because this is vital information that could be life or death for someone that you know.
And it doesn't always have to be a woman. Men.
Please say that as
men.
Well. Men suffer
from breast cancer as well.
As well.
Absolutely.
Miss Brenda, I thank you. I'm so proud of you.
I am proud of you as well. And I am very, very grateful and appreciative for all that you do. Thank you.
She puts me to shame. You caught, she's on the move. Not just all the time. She's on the move and still going. Diagnosis at 45. The Lord has kept you here to be able to help some other women. He's kept you here. So this is life after breast cancer, 30 plus years after diagnosis, after treatment. So it doesn't have to be a death sentence.
No,
it's
it does not.
Early diagnosis and detection. That's why it's important. I know you've been trying to get out of here and I keep talking. So we will allow Miss Wilhelmina Richardson to come on next. You all can just switch out.
Switch out.
Yes, ma'am. We'll make it pretty easy here on Evolve. So our that's Miss Brenda Phillips Hall, who is the founder of Brenda's Brown Bosom Buddies, and she's just kind of switching out now with Mrs. Wilhelmina Richardson.
Well, hello.
And I always say she always looks fabulous.
Well, thank you so much.
You're so
you do as well.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Has the sweetest and most wonderful spirit that you will ever.
Sorry, you're fine. I have long legs. Yes, okay.
We're just kind of touching legs here, but so you too.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know how I didn't know this or how this missed me. But I did not know you were a registered registered nurse.
Yes, I am also.
Did not know that.
Yes.
Also a breast cancer
survivor.
Yes. And thriver.
Yes.
And are you the vice president?
I'm the vice president of Richardson Broadcasting.
Of Richardson Broadcasting.
Yes, WGLD radio station.
Are we at liberty to say who's your spouse is? Are you okay?
Yes, it's fine.
Okay.
Yes.
This is
my husband,
Gary Richardson's wife.
Yes.
Mrs. Wilhelmina Richardson.
Yes.
But also you work very closely with Brenda's Brown Bosom Buddies.
Yes, I do. I was diagnosed in 2019, and I actually knew Miss Brenda Hong prior to getting diagnosed. Okay. Once I became diagnosed, I wanted to sow more into the organization because she had sown so much into me when I was going through everything. And when I came on, and they embraced me, and it was so fulfilling to be around other women that were thriving, living, not just making it, but they were living. And there was such an excitement about life. And so I came aboard and I continued working with her. And at this point now, I'm the vice president of the organization. And this year I will be chairing Sister Strut.
Nice.
Yes.
Nice. Mm-hmm. I came out there last year. That environment was wonderful, packed at Legion Field.
Yes.
Again, the website is at the bottom of the screen, so visit it. And as you mentioned, supporting it, $35 to purchase a ticket. Is that correct?
$35 for a ticket.
That does not break the bank. Even
if it is not. And every cent goes back into the organization. No one gets paid. Everyone, yes, to help women and men of color
of color.
that have been diagnosed,
Sure.
or even those that are trying to prevent being affected by breast cancer.
Yes. All of that goes back into the organization. It's hard to argue. And I'm going to make a pledge. I will, whether I'm able to be there or not, I'm purchasing at least a
Thank
ticket.
you.
At least.
Thank you.
At
Thank you so
least.
much.
So that's
Mhm.
my pledge and my challenge to you. For those of you who are watching now, I see that we have more folks who are on here.
Mhm.
And we so thank you for tuning in on this midday. Mrs. Wilhelmina Richardson is joining us here at Filter Coffee Parlor. She is talking to us about breast cancer prevention, thriving even after diagnosis.
Yes.
And coming up in September, they have the Sister Strut,
Mhm.
$35 ticket.
Yes, September
on
28th.
September 28th.
Mhm.
You all are on. You're listening. Here's the homepage of the website. You can find you can find out about sorry, Sister Strut on the page there, and also just Google it. You really intrigued me as I talked to
Mhm.
you, and I met you last September, and so
Yes.
we didn't have the personal conversation yet, but let's have the conversation and let everybody else
Sure.
benefit from our conversation.
Okay.
You really encouraged, inspired, and motivated me because
Hmm.
after your diagnosis, you really changed what you ate. You and I, of all things we
Mhm.
talked about that day, we were talking about diet.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about how you manage what you eat and how you changed your diet in the wake of the
Mhm.
diagnosis?
Okay. Well, my motivator was the fact that I want to live
Huh.
and have a long life.
Yes.
In my family, we've had many women pass away of breast cancer.
Wow.
So when I was diagnosed with triple negative
Ooh.
breast cancer, and that's one of the most aggressive breast cancers you can be diagnosed with, and it affects women of color.
Disproportionately.
Yes,
Disproportionately.
yes, and I was diagnosed stage 2, grade 3. Uh, the cancer had migrated to my lymph nodes, so I started doing research and just started reading and reading and reading, talking to other survivors. I would go online and I would reach out to people that had survived, those that had been diagnosed at later stages, how they were surviving. And with every individual, diet kept being the main focus.
Are you all hearing what she's
Mhm.
saying? So two things I'm hearing her say. She knew she had a family history. When she
Mhm.
was make that three things. When she was diagnosed, she started researching.
Mhm.
And number three, she found out what was important for other people and how diet was important.
Yes.
Carry on.
Okay. And I realized that a lot of foods I had been eating were harming me and
Mm,
perhaps brought on the diagnosis.
wow.
I'm sure the genetic factor played a huge part, but I was a person, I ate artificial sweeteners on a regular basis. I add equal to my coffee, to my tea, to cut down on calories. Um, I mean, I love sugar. I can bake. That was one of my downfalls. I ate tons of sugar, and I didn't eat a whole lot, but I ate a whole lot of sweets. And I always ate what we call comfort foods in our community. Um, I did not eat. I didn't eat chitterlings or things like that,
Yeah.
but I did eat pork. And my turnip greens, my greens, they had the pork in them.
Yeah.
All the fatty meats, all the things that your body should not have. I just learned that sometimes we think we're comforting ourselves or helping ourselves, we're really harming our bodies.
Yeah.
Our bodies are the temple of God,
Yes.
and we have to treat our bodies as such.
Yes.
So we have to be mindful of what we put in our body. And when you learn what's going on with our food, the shortcuts, the greed, all the antibiotics, the pesticides, the genetically modified foods, you learn differently. You see what's happening. And so many of those good, healthy foods or organic foods aren't readily available in our community.
That's right.
So you have to, it's not easy to tell someone eat all organic. Everyone can't do that,
Yeah.
but you can tell them to try and eat locally
Sure.
as much as possible.
Sure.
And also just read and see what's in your food. And if you can, avoid fast food restaurants. Now, there are some healthy options you can get, but most of the food is just horrible. It has so many preservatives in it,
That's it.
and it's harming your body.
That's it.
And I mean, it's just our community. We're almost killing ourselves. And I was so surprised how many people were diagnosed with breast cancer once I was diagnosed. I had no idea I had so many church members that had been affected by breast cancer, friends and people in the neighborhood. And what I realized is that in our community, we don't talk about uh, different illnesses or diagnoses the way we should.
Not enough.
No, not enough. Now that's
No.
changing now,
Yeah.
little by little,
Yeah.
but we don't address those things. So that's something that we have to work on. And I think if I had been shared with me, I may have been more aware of some things. But once I became diagnosed, I do everything I can to spread the word and tell everyone I can about your diet, about living, about the fact of having a clean body as much as possible. Anything that's artificial, that's man made, try your best to avoid that. Do the best you can to get as healthy as possible. Eat local, cut out the processed food, um, the fast food, the sodas, high fructose syrup.
Mm.
Sugar is horrible.
Sugar is hard.
It's horrible.
And my understanding with sugar is that sugar is a cancer fueler.
It feeds it.
It feeds cancer.
It feeds it.
And
Mhm.
I'm over here. I'm listening to you. I had
Mhm.
a very close relative of mine who I don't know if she died from breast cancer. I know she had been diagnosed. And you want to know when we found out?
When?
At her funeral.
Oh my God.
We did not know. And this was a stalwart in our family. But to your point,
Mm-hmm.
we hide these things, and people suffer.
Yes.
And we don't know that we have family history, or that this is something we need to be mindful of. But
Mhm.
I was like, wow. But a thing that I noticed with this person, and I'm so sorry
It's
if
okay.
I'm hitting you, but the thing I noticed with this person is baking, sugar,
Mm-hmm.
and overindulgence in sugar. I remember
Yes. Mhm.
participating, and I'm intentionally protecting the identity of this family member because I love them so dearly. But even though they've gone on to be with the Lord, but I remember helping them bake, and I saw the amount. We did a egg custard pie, and I think we did a 6 eggs or whatever. But the amount of sugar that was
Yes.
dumped into that, I was like, and even then, and I was young and loved all the sugar and everything.
Sure.
But even then, I was like, that's really extreme.
Yes.
That's really extreme. So the sugar part, that's something I found that I have grappled with because I think it's addictive.
Oh, it's very
I think
addictive.
it's addictive.
It is. I mean, it's like a drug. Your body craves it.
Craves it.
But once you get it out of your system, it almost tastes bitter to you.
Mm.
And if sugar is added to anything, I can taste it immediately.
How did you go through the process? Because, and hey, Shakita, I want to say hello to Shakita. She spoke to us. Thank you for helping me clip with that. And everybody who's tuned in, remember, like, share vital information that we are sharing regarding breast cancer, diagnosis, changing your diet, and thriving even after a diagnosis. How did you make the shift to say, okay, this was in my diet. Okay, I like sugar. Was it like immediate?
Well, it was gradual, but there are so many other sweeteners you can use in place of sugar. You can use maple syrup. You can use honey.
Yes.
Some people use coconut sugar.
Yes.
I mean, there are other options.
Okay.
I'm not a big stevia person. Some people love stevia. They use stevia on monk fruit. Monk fruit.
Nectar.
Yes. I mean, it's so much better than sugar. You can still do things in moderation.
Yeah.
Because we can still add too much.
Even with that.
Yes, even with that.
Even with the maple syrup.
Yes, you can. But I mean, but you have options.
Yeah.
I mean, food does not have to taste horrible.
Yes.
When I first started, I was thinking, okay, how am I going to do this? Because most vegan food tastes horrible.
Yes.
But I realized it was the way they were cooking it. my mother taught me how to cook and how to cook well.
Yeah.
So I can cook without meat. I use a lot of peppers and seasonings and
Wow.
onions, and our food still tastes really good.
Wow.
You can just sort of experiment or play around with your own food,
Okay.
but you don't need meat to season your food. And I think that's something we all think we have to have,
Yeah.
that
Season
pork or
anything,
that turkey
greens.
season. You
Yeah.
don't need that. I mean, you don't.
You gosh, you every time I talk to you,
Mhm.
would you consider yourself a bona fide vegan?
No, not completely, because I will still eat seafood,
Okay.
wild seafood. That's
Yeah.
my preference.
Yeah.
But if I'm out somewhere, I mean, I will sometimes eat seafood.
Yeah.
You have to survive and make it. I think you should not set yourself up for failure.
Yeah.
And we
Yeah.
all need something to look forward to.
Yeah.
And I mean, there have been times I've gone and eaten stuff I shouldn't eat,
Yeah. Yeah.
but I get back on track. I think,
That part.
yes, the thing is getting back on
That
track.
part.
Yes, don't be so hard on yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, there are times you're going to eat something that is probably not good for you.
Yeah.
That's discipline. But
Yeah.
when you do it, just know it's temporary. Right? Because you live.
Listen,
If-
you have a slice of cake.
Yeah,
You just know. As
Yes,
I told
that's
you in the
fine.
past, I may have had a slice of cake. And
that's
then-
fine. Like for
You
your
know.
birthday or
Yeah,
for the
yes.
holidays,
Yes.
you're with your whole family, you're going to eat.
You just don't have a slice of cake every day. For
No,
2
you
weeks,
don't.
No.
No.
Or
And-
every day.
Yes, and I tell people, don't feel bad.
Yeah.
You got together with your family, you had a
That's
great
good.
time,
That's good.
you enjoyed yourself.
Yes.
Okay, you can get back on track
Yes.
afterwards.
That's good.
But never set yourself up for failure.
Yeah.
If you're too strict on yourself and too hard on yourself,
Yeah.
9 times out of 10, you're going to
You're
fail.
going to fail.
And we all need something to look forward to.
I like so much what you said because there was a time I had gone vegan
Hmm.
and I really was very strict
Mhm.
in vegan. It was either vegan, it's called vegetarian, I think, more because vegan
Mhm.
is pretty tough.
Mhm.
We're talking
Yes,
about
I know.
just nuts and fruits and
Mhm.
vegetables all the time. But there are people who do it. But I did do it for a short while.
Hmm.
In this season, what I'm giving myself more grace is that I love my fresh fruits. I love my vegetables, and I'm watching people, Wilhelmina, who are
Hmm.
on YouTube. Thank God for YouTube and Facebook
Yes.
Reels.
Oh,
because
yes.
they show you how to season. They
They
show
sure
you
do.
how to cook
Hmm.
non-traditional and how to really manage the vegan and vegetarian lifestyle.
Yes.
And so I do that and watch those things and get my inspiration and get recipes. But I love the fact that now I'm more balanced and I say
Mhm.
if I want to I go to Surin across the street and eat something, a Thai
Yes.
dish. I just know I'm not going to go to Surin every day.
Yes,
Not
of
even
course.
every week not every week for that matter. It may be a once a month treat. It may be a once a month. Every 2
Yes.
months. But I'm like you
Mhm.
now. I'm more of a flexitarian. I
Yes.
may have my meals where I'm just
Mhm.
going to have vegetables. But if I occasionally
That's
have,
fine. Because you have to live,
You have to
and you have to
live.
be realistic.
Yes.
And there are some people that look absolutely amazing.
Yes.
They're completely vegan. They're completely strict. I have children. I have a special needs son. I have a family.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there are times we're going to go somewhere that he
Yes.
wants to go.
Yes.
It's not going to have that perfect food for me. So I'll do the best I can.
Yes.
But I still do the best I can.
Yes.
Yes. I mean, so it's a choice every day. It's every day. We're taking care of our bodies. We're serving God.
Yeah.
God does not expect you to be perfect,
Yes.
but He wants you to try.
Yes.
You do your best. You try. So, I
Get a
mean,
good-
that's
put
right.
forth a good effort.
Sure. I
And he's
mean,
going to do the super.
yes, because at times you will fail,
Yes.
but it's okay.
Yes.
You get back up and you keep going.
Yes. I love it.
Mhm.
We're going to conclude by saying this. Just remind everyone again, it's Brenda's Brown Bosom Buddies. And the website, the link is running across the bottom of the screen. But again, you have probably one of your biggest events of the year.
We do.
coming
Sister
up.
Strut.
Sister
It's
Strut.
always the last Saturday of September.
Yeah.
So some people have asked, why not do it in October? We kick it off.
Yeah.
Yeah, we start everything off.
Yeah.
And it's a wonderful time. We celebrate life. It's a celebration. When you come there, you will get education. You'll be inspired. We have women stand up to see how long you've been a survivor.
Yeah.
And it's amazing to see all the beautiful faces,
Yeah.
the life there. And we just ask everyone to come out and support Brenda's Brown Bosom Buddies Sister Strut. This or a person that needs information, a person that needs a mammogram, every cent goes back into the organization to help men or women that need the education or the assistance. And we network with everyone, with you,
Yeah.
and because we want the word to spread, we want everyone to tell everyone you can. Just keep telling the word, keep spreading the word. Health is so important in our community,
True.
and we want you to stay healthy. We want you to fight on and live on, and that's our goal. So please, September 28th, we want you to come out and support Brenda's Brown Bosom Buddies and go to our website right now,
Yeah.
share and tell everyone about this event.
$35 for a ticket. Come on, everybody.
Mhm.
We can do that, and you have time. $35.
Mhm.
We should be, for our mother's sake, for our grandmother's sake,
Yes.
for our sister's sake,
Mhm.
for our uncles, for our brothers, for our dad's sake. We should be supporting this organization. It specifically puts resources in the hand, not excluding any
Mhm.
other community. It specifically puts resources and information in the hand. Resources and information. Say that 10 times. Resources and information
Mhm.
for those people of color and women of color
Mhm.
and
That's
those in
correct.
our community, not excluding any other community. But again, we understand that there are some disparities in health.
Yes, there are.
And you are a registered nurse, so
Yes,
you understand that
I understand that firsthand on both
firsthand,
both sides.
of
Yes, and something you mentioned earlier,
it. Yeah.
we have to advocate for ourselves. You have to advocate.
Yes.
You cannot, being a woman or a man of color, you cannot just go by those guidelines. And research has shown that 9 times out of 10, you need to go at least 10 years earlier than the guidelines. If you're a woman or a man of color, you cannot wait, especially if you have a family history
Yeah.
of breast cancer. You can't wait until you're 40 to go and get diagnosed or get your mammogram. You don't have that kind of time. I mean, it's serious. And all of us, I'm sure everyone that's watching right now, 100% of us know someone that has passed away
Sure.
of breast cancer.
Sure.
100% of us. It's not an obscure thing any longer. It's so prevalent in our community.
Yeah.
And it's, I don't know if it's because I was diagnosed, but it seems like I'm meeting someone almost every week that was diagnosed.
Diagnosed with
I mean, and it's just, we've got to change this. We've got to get the information out. And we've got to educate our community so we can live.
And I think that there's some habits and some things that we're actively working that we've got to change.
Yes.
That diet, number
The
one.
diet, that's the
The-
main thing
The
for
main
us.
thing for us that
Mhm.
we focus more on what tasted good.
Mhm.
Number
Yes.
one. Number two, having a conversation, not being afraid to have the
Mhm.
conversation.
Yes.
Number three, knocking on doors and asking about resources. If you personally
Yes.
don't have the resources,
Mhm.
how can I?
They're there.
They're there.
Yes, they are.
You just need to ask. And
Mhm.
there's no more room for shame.
There
and
is
whatever.
no shame in living.
No
I tell everyone there's no shame in living.
That's good.
Yes,
That's
there's no
good.
shame in living.
My goodness, my goodness. I so appreciate you.
Mhm.
It's always
I appreciate you.
wonderful
Thank
to
you.
talk to you.
Thank
and
you.
I'm looking. I didn't put my glasses back on a little bit
Mhm.
because when I don't have my glasses, it can be a little blurry sometimes.
Mhm.
That's fair.
Okay.
I appreciate what you do. I encourage you in your fight.
Thank
personally.
you.
Um, you have a lot. I look at Miss Brenda. Miss Brenda
Mhm.
says, she said, I didn't have the daughter that I was looking
Mhm.
for for the husband for.
Mhm.
She says, I'm single, and
Mhm.
I wasn't the grandmother. I didn't fit the typical
She's
profile.
amazing. I say she's my mother.
I know. Okay, right.
I love her so much.
Yes.
I do.
I think everybody
Mhm.
just kind of gravitates to her.
I mean,
because
you
of
do,
that.
and I'm so protective of her. I mean, I love her. I really
Yes,
do.
we love
Mhm.
Miss Brenda.
Yes.
And I was looking at the different profiles though between her being, not about single.
Mhm.
She was saying not having the children, but
Mhm.
you are married with children,
Mhm.
and you know what I mean, with
Yes.
daughter, with son.
Mhm.
So just different sectors of the community of who can be impacted. But we're all in the fight together, really.
It is. And one thing we have to do, um, especially Black women, we put everyone else ahead of ourselves. We find every reason. Well, I'm going to wait because I need to get John his things for his football game, or my daughter needs this for her prom. We continue to put things off, but we have to remember you have to be here with them
To be able to help them.
to help them.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
you can't
Wow.
help anyone if you're not healthy.
Wow. I have
Mhm.
nothing else to add to what she said.
Mhm.
You can't help anyone if you're not healthy. Special thanks today to Miss Brenda
Mhm.
Phillips Pong. Special thanks too to Mrs. Wilhelmina
Thank you.
Richardson. You're
Mhm.
welcome. Brenda's Brown Bosom Buddies. We have the information at the screen. You all have a great Friday. I'm Keisa Sharp, Coach K. Thank you for tuning in. Have a great Friday.